Okay, equations of lines. So we saw this in the previous lesson, just real quick. I referred to one of the equations, and it's the most popular form that we use. That is called slope-intercept form. And that is y equals mx plus b. M is our slope. B is our y-intercept, okay? Our y-intercept can be given to us as a point. If it is, then it's always 0, whatever the y value is, okay? So these want us to write an equation in slope-intercept form given the slope and y-intercept. So these first ones are easy. So this first one, if you did it, it would be y equals 0x minus 1. But what's 0 times anything? 0, okay? So this ends up being y equals -1, which is why we said that's a horizontal line, because it has 0 slope. It doesn't go up or down. The next one, y equals 1/2. There's our slope. 1/2 x plus 3, because that's a positive 3 there. All right, the next ones are a little more difficult because they don't give us the y-intercept. Instead, they give us a point. But we're going to start the same way. So here's my x, here's my y, and there's my m. So I'm going to use y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to try to find what b is by plugging those values in. So y was 4, m is 6, times my x, which is 1, plus b. So that's 4 equals 6 plus b. Subtract 6 from both sides. And if I do that, I get -2 equals b. So now I have my b and I have my m. Now I can write the equation. Y equals mx, and then my b is -2. So there's the equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, so do the same thing here. Here's my x, here's my y, there's my m. So y equals m times x plus b. So 4 equals 6 plus b. So I end up, even though I had different values, I'm going to end up with the same thing. Subtract 6, -2 equals b. So now I have my b, I have my m. So my equation is y equals mx b. There we go. All right, the next one. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of each line. So now we're given a graph, okay? So the two things we need to find are my y-intercept, which is right here. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So in this case, my b is -2. And I find my slope. Now, how do I find my slope? I just pick 2 points. So I'm going to pick this point right here, which is called the x-intercept, and I'm going to count like I did in the previous lesson. So that's 1, 2, so that's down 2, 1, 2, that's to the right 2. So my slope is rise over run. If I simplify that, that gives me -1. So now I can write my equation. Y equals mx, and then my b. All right, let's do number 6. So here's my y-intercept again. It's at -2, so b is -2. Here is my x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis. So I'm going to count. 1, 2, so that's down 2. And then 1, 2, 3, to the right 3. So my slope rise over run. So now I can write my equation. Y equals m x, and then there's my b. Okay, last one. Write the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line described. Okay, so it goes through this point, so I'm going to do it like the other one. There's my x, there's my y. This time they don't give me the slope, but they say it's parallel to this one. Parallel means they have the same slope. We learned that in a previous lesson. So there's my slope. There's my m. So now I do the y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug in those values. So y is 0, m is -4, my x is 1. So I get 0 is -4 plus b. Add 4. So 4 equals b. So there's my b. Here's my m. So y equals mx, and then my b, which is +4. All right, the last one. Very similar to this one. There's my x, there's my y, but this time it says perpendicular. So this is not my slope now. What do I have to do to that? I have to, remember the rule, flip it. So that becomes 5/3, and then change the sign. That now becomes from positive to negative. So now there's my m. Now I do just like I did over here. Y equals, sorry about that, y equals m times x plus b. So if I multiply here, it's going to give me 5 plus b, subtract 5. So that's -2 equals my b. And here's my m. So now I can write the equation. Y equals m x and then my b. And there's the equation of a line perpendicular. Okay, so the difference perpendicular, remember you got to take that slope that they gave you and flip it and change the sign.